Hey guys, welcome back to Mesha's Corner. Today I'm going to be making my 100 g chocolate caramel cake. So it's a few steps to this recipe, so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. But first, make sure you put your 100 g candies in the freezer. Yeah, and you'll see why later, but you need to put the 100 g candy bars in your freezer while you're making your cake. For the sake of counter space, I already put my flour in my bowl. This is 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. That's what's in here so far. To this, I'm going to add 2 cups of sugar. It looks like a lot, but you know. Then I'm going to go in here with 3/4 cup of cocoa powder. I'm using Hershey's Cocoa All Natural unsweetened cocoa powder. You're going to go in here with 3/4 cup. Then I'm going to go in here with 1.5 teaspoons of my baking powder and 1.5 teaspoons of baking soda. And then I'm also going to go in here with 1 teaspoon of salt. And that's it for the dry ingredients. So I'm going to stir this up really well, especially making sure the baking soda and baking powder is like really distributed throughout your mix. And then now we're going to work on the wet ingredients. Now I'm going to work on the wet ingredients into my KitchenAid. I'm using the paddle. I'm going to add 2 eggs, 2 large eggs down in here, 1 cup of milk, and 1 cup of coffee. Mix it however you want, strong or however. I had a cup of coffee laying around and that's what I used. 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And then I'm gonna go in here with 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. You can use whatever light unflavored oil that you have in your house. Yeah, so I'm just gonna mix this up really well, and then I'm going to add my dry ingredients. So I have all my dry ingredients in here. I'm just gonna mix this until it all comes together, barely. And then I'm gonna use my spatula and maybe like toss it a little bit. You don't want to over mix your batter. Okay, so that's it. I mixed it for approximately maybe 20 seconds, if that. So whatever's left on the sides, I'm gonna mix it really well, and then I'm going to grease my pan and get it in there. Preset your oven to 350 degrees, and we're gonna move on from there. So I put my cake batter into a well-greased pan. Now I'm going to put it in the oven, 350 for about 40 minutes. I'm going to check it like 35-40 minutes, or when your toothpick comes out clean, your cake is done. In the meantime, you can start chopping your 100 g candy bars, because as soon as the cake comes out the oven, we're going to sprinkle them over the top while the cake is still hot or warm, so they can melt all over the top. And then we're also going to make a caramel. Now I'm going to work on a quick caramel for the topping. I'm going to start off with 1/2 stick of butter. Yes, 1/2 stick of butter. 1/2 cup of brown sugar. I'm using light brown sugar. 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And you're just going to put this on the stove, let it come to a boil, and simmer until the desired thickness. As in, if you like your caramel thicker than what I'm going to have, you go longer. If you want it less thin or the consistency of mine, just follow what I'm doing. And yeah, and then when it's finished, we're gonna add some more vanilla to that and some salt. This is how I chopped up my candy. They're like in chunks, not too small. You don't want them too small because you don't want it to lose all the consistency when it goes on top of the cake. So like big chunks, like 1-inch chunks, 1/2-inch chunks. This is what you're looking for. I'm gonna cut my stove off. And at this point is when I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla right down in there, and about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that's it for the caramel. Stir this up, let it sit. I'm going to pour mine into a squirt bottle. If you don't have one, you could just use a spoon. So in my bowl here, I have 4 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate and 1 tablespoon of butter. To this, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of pretty hot heavy whipping cream, and you're just gonna stir this until your chocolate melts and come together. If you need more heavy cream or less heavy cream, make sure you use your own judgment. But for me, I think a 4th cup was enough to 4 ounces of chocolate. So I'm just gonna stir this until it all melts down. And this is also going on top of the cake. So my cake is fresh out of the oven. Now I'm gonna take my frozen 100-gram candy bars. Before I even take it out the pan, I'm doing it right in the pan because you don't want this to cool off. You're just gonna spread your candies all over the top. Don't worry, we're gonna do this again. This is just step 1 of decorating the cake. Push them on there. As the cake cools, the candy is gonna melt down into the cake, and that's it for right now. Once this cools and melts, I'm gonna take it out the pan and put it on a plate, and we're gonna go from there with the chocolate and the caramel. This is what the cake looks like after I take it out the pan. The chocolate melted, and then the chocolate I made earlier, all I did was drizzle it all over the cake along with the caramel in like a crisscross form. I'm gonna do this again once I plate it up, so you'll be able to see exactly what I did. But yeah, so this is my chocolate caramel 100-gram cake. This is what it looks like. It's super moist and chocolatey. The caramel comes through, the chocolate comes through. It's really decadent. I'm not really a big pastry eater, which is why I don't make a lot of pastries on my channel, but every now and then you will see something. I hope you like this recipe and this cake. Comment below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.